Hazard pay is back on, baby. It's in the third stimulus package as an earned income tax credit, $1,502. But what happened to that $10,000 from last year? And who are essential workers? In this throwback video, I explain hazard pay, how you get it, and who are essential workers. Enjoy this overnight to LA video about hazard pay. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Labor Day weekend, the weekend in which you're supposed to relax and do much of nothing. It's basically the Nancy Pelosi national holiday. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons at LALATE, our 2-hour programming block that starts every day at 3:30 with the check. Then goes to hazard pay this video, then FPUC 30 minutes after now, and then rent. This is part of LALATE's 3.5-hour programming schedule every day as now the net's most watched and fastest growing financial news channel. Thank you for tuning in. Boy, hazard pay is getting a lot of twists, a lot of turns, and a lot of confusion. And so for today, I'm going to be going over all the misconceptions, confusions about timing, application, amounts, and everything, all that included in hazard pay. I've seen your comments and I'm going to respond to them into this video. Hazard pay's most overwhelming question of confusion is when would it become law, and when is it up for a vote? Okay, so next week's bill, the second stimulus package that's being introduced by the Republicans, is something totally new. Some people incorrectly referring to it as the skinny bill. It's not the skinny bill because that was a draft that was debuted 3 weeks ago. This is not that. Rather, it has several few items in it. Stimulus checks, FPUC extension, K-12 money for schools, and testing. It does not have hazard pay in it. It's written by Republicans who have never talked about hazard pay, with the exception of President Trump, who'd had a tweet about frontline workers about 2 weeks ago, and some reoccurring comments here and there by Steve Mnuchin about frontline workers. But they've never written a bill about hazard pay, with the exception of one person, Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney wrote that incredible bill as a Republican, giving you hazard pay, but it's not part of next week's bill as well. So in introducing next week's bill, you wonder where would hazard pay be and where would it land and what is the future of hazard pay? It has multiple different routes. First, it's still in the Democratic proposal, which is apparently going nowhere at this point. That's the HEROES Act, approved by the House in the Senate, but going nowhere in the Senate and will likely never go anywhere in the Senate. Second, you have Mitt Romney's bill introduced to the Senate, not moving anywhere in the Senate because other Republicans haven't really come out in favor of it. And then you have what is likely to be your biggest hope, which is a $650 billion bill, not being introduced next week, but likely about a week or 2 weeks thereafter. As I've been detailing to you, what's happening next week is phase one of a second stimulus package that has two phases. So you can call it the second stimulus package and the third stimulus package. You can just call it a second stimulus package with two phases. The first phase is $500 billion next week, and the second phase is about $650 billion, but has room to grow, absolutely has room to grow, because Steve Mnuchin and Donald Trump have both said it has room to grow. It's there that hazard pay may land. Now, when we say may, or shall, or could, what is the likelihood? It's really basically 50-50 at this point. We've seen nothing from a Republican saying that they want to put this into a bill. We've seen nothing from a Republican saying that they support the Democratic proposal for hazard pay. We've seen nothing from any Republican saying they support Mitt Romney's bill. So what we're at is really just a guessing game. It really is a guessing game. It's yours guess as much as mine. The only difference is I could tell you where they're putting things and where it could possibly land. I can't tell you it is going to land there because it is not like next week. Next week, we were actually told by Meadows, Mnuchin, Kudlow, Pence, what's in next week's bill. We're told line item, this one, this one, this one, this one. We have not been told what's in the bill thereafter, with the exception of money for state and local and PPP. Other than that, we don't know what's in the next bill. So could hazard pay be in there? Absolutely. With that, when is the likelihood that hazard pay could ever become a law? One, it's absolutely not in September. It would never become law in September because it's the second bill may not even get introduced until late September. And it's going to be heavily debated. It's going to be heavily argued, and it's going to be, a battleground between two members of two houses of Congress at a time in which state and local is really the predominant focus of their disagreement, not hazard pay. So October, yeah. And when could it become law? Well, it could become a law in October. Could it survive and be in the law, hazard pay? Yes. Could it also get thrown out? Absolutely. So you're looking at a 50-50 chance for hazard pay come October as we sit here today. Everything completely can change with these people because they literally just don't tell us a lot of stuff. Examples of them not telling us stuff is Mark Meadows on Monday or Tuesday this week saying that he had negotiations for several weeks with Democrats and Republicans in the Senate about next week's bill. Okay, where did that come from? Never heard that before. Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin having a secret meeting to do a stopgap bill for the federal government. Okay, where did that come from? Didn't see that happening. These people meet all the time and don't tell us what they're doing. They don't even tell us that they're meeting. They don't tell us what they're meeting about. They don't tell us what the terms of the negotiations are. And ultimately, it's very frustrating because as you sit here today and you wonder where could I get hazard pay, you really don't know. So as we sit here today, based upon the information that's readily available, based upon their statements and based upon rally times, there's a 50-50 chance that hazard pay could be in an October bill that could become a law in the month of October as a second stimulus package phase 2. That's that. So if it does become law in October, when would you get the money? Boy, that question is the one that I've done almost every single day for 2 months of hazard pay. And the answer is, I simply just don't know. It's all dependent on one person and one person only. Not you, not the president, not Congress, your boss. If your boss does not apply for hazard pay, tough luck. If your boss doesn't want to apply for hazard pay, tough luck. If your boss doesn't do anything, can you do anything about it? No. Can you force your boss to apply? No. What if your boss doesn't exist anymore? The business has been shut down. Tough. What if your boss fired you and you can't, and then won't respond to your phone calls, but you worked as essential work during that time frame? Will he get the money? And no. Will you reach out to him and ask him to get the money? Sure. And will he return your phone calls? No. So everything about hazard pay is literally like a ticking time bomb. It's just like. And so some people want me to say, I worked as a contractor in March. When am I getting $10,000? That's only the questions I'm getting. There's like 15 steps you have to go through, and everything has to absolutely come out on the positive side and on the other side. So when it comes to hazard pay, I gotta say that sometimes I see them the questions, and I wonder if they're being facetious, or they didn't watch the entire video, or they haven't watched any of the videos in 2 months, or they're just being, comedic. I did this. What day am I getting my $10,000? I'm like. Oh, you're really going to get screwed. You're really going to get screwed. Because if you're sitting back and saying, it becomes law, I get $10,000, that's exactly what I've been telling you not to do. Any viewer of this channel that sits back and just hears that there's a bill out there that would give essential workers up to $10,000 and just assumes they're getting $10,000 is exactly the type of viewer that should not be watching this channel, because what this channel always does is empowers viewers to learn how they can get stuff and to get that for themselves. And so if all you do is sit back and assume that things are going to fall in your bank account for the purpose of hazard pay, $10,000 with never talking to your boss about it, never calculating how many hours you work, never figuring out whether you're an essential worker, worker, never do anything about it, it's just going to land in your bank account. Congratulations. Because it won't. It's as simple as that. The boss element of hazard pay is really one of the craziest ones of anything I've seen in the second stimulus package. That the boss may apply for you, but doesn't have to apply for you. And if they don't, you can't say anything about it, and you can't force them to apply for you. Boy. And so ultimately, my job is to inspire and inform you that, hey, your boss should apply for you. You worked. You provided the services. Your boss should apply for you, and these are the skills sets, and these are the strategies, and these are the methods that I'm suggesting to you to get your boss to apply for you. Let's go back over those. What are they? First, you one-on-one with your boss. Have this conversation right now. I'm an essential worker. I worked in the pandemic. There's this bill, hazard pay. I'd like you to apply when it becomes law. There's a time element because it's a diminishing funds. You can't wait to apply. Can we agree upon the number of hours I worked during this pandemic? And so at least you know how many hours I worked, and there's agreement upon that, and we put that, and we get it all ready. Next strategy, all your fellow employees with the boss having that conversation. And the boss says, I just don't feel in the mood to do it. It's Labor Day, and I'm just going to be not laboring for the rest of the year. Well, then use your art of persuasion with the rest of your employees that maybe don't want to show up to work if the boss doesn't want to do it. And consider all your strategic moves you can use if all the employees get together and say, hey, boss, do this. Third, if you're in a union, reach out to the union. They're the ones that are doing the best moves and shakes and shuffles about this. Fourth, if you're aligned close to something with a union, let's say you work in a grocery store, but you're not unionized in the grocery store, reach out to the labor union. They may help you. Fifth, understand that if you work as an essential worker in multiple different places of frontline work, they all shall or may apply for you, but one may not of the whole group. So try to get the most out of what you can. At least you get something done. Finally, if your boss is shut down or has closed their doors or is bankrupt, you can't reach them, you need to start that move now to figure out who is the person that's going to apply for you. And I always have the viewers that say, I don't have a boss. Everyone has a boss. I had one person who repairs the refrigerators in a school and says, well, I'm my own boss. Well, I got that. I got that. You determine your hours, you drive your own truck, you do your own, I got that. But someone wrote you a check. You didn't write yourself a check. Someone wrote you a check. It was a school. So the school should fill out the paperwork for you. Ultimately, these issues need to be addressed by Congress because it's just not very clear. So as you sit here today, when would you likely get your hazard pay money, if ever? If ever all the planets align that the boss applies, the bill is approved, you agree upon the number of hours, the boss gets it in on time, the boss does not wait, the funds are not diminished to non-existence. You could get it in October. I don't see it happening. November, yeah, I see it happening in November. Could it go longer than that? Absolutely. If this is a process or an agency that the federal government that sends out money at a very slow pace, this could go all the way into next year. I just see this going very, very slowly. Ultimately, my job is to empower you with correct information, and no one's really reporting about hazard pay. No one's reporting upon routing times. No one's telling you when things are going, and people are just telling you a lot of crazy stuff like stimulus checks are going out today. No, they're not. A bill was signed for the stimulus package yesterday. No, it was not. Next week, there's going to be a law for stimulus. No, there's not. There's all this really bad information out there, and my job is to sort of swim through it and keep you along with me along the ride as we get to the path of correct information. So hit that subscribe and alert button on this channel so you're gonna alert when a new video goes live. It's important that you subscribe to this channel so you get the information firsthand as quickly as possible. I report on news as soon as it breaks. I don't report on news 3 days later. I don't report on news after the fact. I don't report on news after you receive funds, which, ultimately that will result in you not getting funds because you didn't do something right because I didn't report on it. I reported on it months in advance. So if you need to do an on-file filing, if you need to talk to your boss about hazard pay, I bridge these discussions now to ensure that you get your money the fastest, quickest, and easiest way possible. finally hit the like button so that this video appears higher in the ranks than other videos. There's some really crazy ass videos out there today. Boy, I mean, they're just saying, like, what? What the hell are you talking about? It's important that you have this video, which is correct information with a lot of chock full of details, timelines, and numbers that you need to know. $10,000 if you made $100,000 or less last year is the most you can get under hazard pay, up to $10,000. Based upon number of hours you work, $13 an hour, all the way from January up to the present. If you made over $100,000 last year, it's $5,000 you would get as a lump sum. And if you haven't reached that threshold, you get the remainder of the money going forward at $13 an hour. I mean, who else does that for you? So like this video. Coming up next is FPUC extension. It's coming back, unlike someone's hairstyle. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay in LA for more.